Are you looking to refine your sales team and increase your company's revenue? Leading your sales team is an ongoing improvement process. Join Harry Newhan from Eric Lofholm International as he interviews top sales managers in the world. Discover the best practices that rocket them and their teams towards success. Boost your recruitment, motivation, and training techniques, leading you to build a top-producing, synergetic sales team. Welcome to CSI for Sales Managers.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are on the air. Thanks for joining us today. This is Harry Newhan with Continuous Sales Management. And Continuous Sales Improvement, Sales Management Improvement, we're excited to have a new guest on today, Jamie Boedeker, actually from Michigan, right around the corner from me. We actually met on LinkedIn and another local man. Jamie's with Global Telecom Solutions. He's going to share some of his exciting tips. But before we get into the questions and get into the details, Jamie, feel free to share anything our audience likes to relate with our guests. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. First, thanks for having me today. I'm very excited to talk with you. I've been looking forward to this since we talked about a month ago, so I'm excited to be here. But yeah, as you mentioned, I'm right around the corner from you. I'm a born and raised lifelong Detroiter. My wife and I settled here in the Lake St. Clair area, east side of Detroit. We've got 5 kids, ages from 21 to 7, and so couple in college, couple in elementary school, one in high school. All the sports and everything in between. So pretty hectic, but fun life. Keeps me busy outside of work.
Well, that's exciting. 5 kids is a rarity. You don't hear a lot about that. I mean, I've got 4. Mine range from 23 to 33. So they're quite a bit older. Your oldest is younger than my youngest. So, but 5 kids, that's great. God bless, man. That is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. We were just talking offline, everybody. We were talking about our favorite team, local team here, the Detroit Lions. It's kind of hard to root for them, and it's hard to root against them because they're the home team. But we always want them to do well.
Yeah, I am a lifelong suffering Lions fan, Tigers fan, Wings fan, Pistons fan. It's been a rough 10 years for us. But every Sunday I get dressed up in my Honolulu blue hoodie or whatever it might be, and just enjoy the misery that is fandom of Lions football.
That's dedication for you, that's for sure.
Yeah,
they actually showed hope last week. They had the lead there and tie game going into halftime, and then everything fell apart after that. So
yeah,
just got to learn how to play 4 quarters, don't they?
That's right.
There you go. We need our own Tom Brady to pick this thing up. So let's go ahead and get into a couple of questions on continuous sales management improvement.
Yeah.
We were talking offline, and our audience knows this, that there's not a lot of resources out there for sales management strategies and tactics and information out there and training. And so we've kind of filled this niche here, and we're excited to have you on. So let's talk about the first thing. What do you feel is the most important thing for you about sales management?
Well, that's a great question, right? I think that's a really good spot to start. And since you and I have been talking in the past month, I've gone back and I've watched quite a few of the episodes, and it seems like everybody starts with this. And I don't think it's cliche either, but for me, the first thing is culture. Are we building a culture where we can thrive? Where people can thrive, where people can grow, feel like they're being developed. So that's the first thing is the culture, and we want to control that culture. And at GTS, it starts from the top down. I mean, the CEO, the president, they live that culture, and that's through everybody. And then the second thing, maybe the most important thing, as a leader is understanding, our people, and what motivates our people. Everyone is motivated differently. Now, uh, many are motivated to have, the work life balance, or what are their career goals, what are their what do they desire in compensation, and how do we help them get there. So for me, it's really important to understand what makes everyone tick, and help them accomplish those goals.
That's exciting, and you're right. It does seem to be a common thread, and there's been a couple of nuances to that, but having that culture from the top down is not common. And for as long as you have it, you recognize it, you thrive on it, you recruit to it. That's exciting. Thank you for sharing that. How about the next one here? Let's talk about as a manager. First of all, let me ask you this: did you start off as a sales manager, or did you kind of come up through the ranks?
So that's a great question, and I came up through the ranks. When I look back, I've always thought of myself as a leader and envision myself in a role, a leadership role at some point, right? I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of. I have two younger brothers, so I just felt like, personally, I was kind of always leading them, and then, when you play sports, I gravitate towards, leading by example and working hard. And then, being a father of five, right? My wife probably tell you differently, but being the leader of a household, right? And so I just always envision myself in some type of leadership role. I'm passionate about helping others. And so, yeah, it was through the ranks as a sales rep and now to leadership today.
That's awesome. It's amazing how much we learn, starting off and growing through the ranks. And nowadays, you hear some of these guys coming out of college with their master's degree and their MBAs, and they go right into a management role. And some of them are successful. Others have a really hard struggle because they don't know what the guys on the front line are going through, and they're making decisions that affect them every single day. So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. How about your best training idea? What do you feel for your team? What's been working really well with you and what resonates with them? What do you feel your number one or best practice is a training idea?
That for me, that's a really tough question, right? Because we've already discussed, hey, there's there's so many platforms for sales reps and sales training, right? I mean, early in my career, I took Miller Hyman sales training and Dale Carnegie, the Challenger training. And so, what we've established is different things work for different people, right? And we're trying. It's another sports analogy, and I would probably hear quite a few of them as we talk, right? But not every Hall of Famer that hit 300 has the same batting stance or the same approach at the plate, right?
That's true.
Some may go to right field, some may be pull hitters or power hitters, right? So, and you don't want to try to put a power hitter into the, hey, you need to bat 300 and slap it to right field type bucket, right? So we're trying to figure out what works best for personality types, for industries that people work in, and then really give them the tools to help them flourish based on that training. So I don't know, Harry, if you're familiar with a challenger sales type model, but essentially it's, you do a ton of research on the company, and then you send them an email with all this data, and then it's a very aggressive sales approach, and I could see how that would work, but I don't know that certain personality types are able to pull that off. And so we don't want to go with just one, hey, this is how it's done, right? So we're trying to
Right.
figure out who's successful at what's their personality type, and then really cater a process to that.
Okay, good. No, thank you for sharing that. How about to find the people with those personalities that you're looking to fill? What do you feel your best either hiring, recruiting, or interviewing advice could be, best practice on how to identify those people and find them?
So I've found that uh, we like people who ask us a lot of questions. They're almost flipping the script, right? I mean, there's certain things you want to see, career successes, certain personality types, but going back to the culture, um, we like people that are asking us questions to make sure that we as a company, our corporate goals, that they're aligning to what the employee is trying to accomplish. And so we found that when we get that type of interaction, it usually turns out to be really successful.
That's good. So you're kind of looking for somebody that wants it. That they're
Absolutely.
asking you those questions because that they want the job. They're almost like they're fighting for it.
Yeah, yeah, we get to a certain point, they're probably very qualified. They may be competing with other very qualified people, but when they're asking the questions, it tells you a few things. One, they've done their research. Two, they're passionate about this position. And three, that they want to. They're not just taking a position to have a position. That they want to make sure it's a right fit for them. And
They're looking
maybe,
for a career, not a job, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that I think that's really really an important part of all that.
That's awesome. That's cool. So now that you got your team in place, let's talk about, for best practices, what do you find has been the most I don't know, efficient or dynamic, or your best motivation idea that has really gotten some better results than other things you've tried?
Well, again, for me, again, it's not the same bucket, right? Everyone is motivated differently. So, um, one employee may be motivated with a trip to Whistling Straits, and the other, golf trip, and the other employee may be, um, they want a $1,000 gift card on top of their commission to go to Amazon, and so it's really getting to know, everyone on an individual basis, what's important to them, and then putting that carrot out there to motivate them. Because like a weekend golf trip to Whistling Straits for me would be, I'm gonna bust my butt to make that happen. But somebody else may like, well, I'm not interested in getting out there. So I apologize if that really didn't answer your question, but it's like, again, it's what's important to the individual and how do we get them there.
I tell you a great idea that I know you're the one that's being interviewed here, but I did
No.
something really really cool a few years back when I was building and running my door to door sales team, and we became extremely successful. We were looking for new ideas, thinking outside the box, and I said, okay, so here's what we're going to do this week. Whoever does this many sales, you're going to be able to have breakfast with me. I'm buying breakfast. And we put a just out there, have breakfast with just the people that qualify with this much production. And it was a 1 week goal. I mean, it was a 1 week contest. It was nothing and nothing after that. And boy, it's amazing. They really did the extra. And I think we put a number on it. And boy, the excuses for the guys that were close were all over the place. But the ones that made it, we had a lot of fun. And of course, we all sat around. I think there was 8 or 9 of us, and ended up doing that three or four times. And then it kind of went through its cycle. It wasn't as exciting anymore having breakfast with Harry, but it was a lot of fun while we did it, and we had a good time. And we actually took that experience back to the other guys that didn't make it and shared with them how exciting and how much fun we had. And then, of course, we had more people qualify for the next one. So. But I bet nobody's clamoring for 50-yard line tickets to the Lions, huh?
Where where was breakfast?
It was at a Coney Island, believe it or not.
There you go.
Yeah,
I know
just
that
a
well.
regular small Coney Island over on 10 Mile and DeQuinder in Hazel Park.
Yeah, I'm familiar. That's funny. Yeah, and we do we have a president's advisory council with uh, that you can qualify for, and it's a 4 night stay in Orlando, and you can
Ooh,
golf or get a massage, or for you and your a plus one. So we do a lot of things like that, right?
I like those things. That's what I want to hear. Those are exciting things. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that definitely tends to motivate people, right? Especially to get to Orlando in December when it's
When it's cold in Detroit.
yeah, 20 below, or polar vortex time here in Detroit. It's a good time to go to Orlando.
Absolutely. That's a big motivator. I like that. Okay, let's move on and talk about the next one. So now you got your team going. You've got different things for different groups of your team members based on their personalities and what motivates them. Do you have any best practices for accountability? Because sometimes when your guys are in the trenches or when they are shooting for whatever incentives or goals, or they're just doing their daily deal. Do you have any kind of accountability mechanisms in place, or do you just let the cards fall where they may?
Well, I mean, we tend to hire, we tend to work with very seasoned sales reps. So there's not a ton of micromanagement. We do have quotas and goals, stretch goals we're trying to hit, right? And then we do have a weekly meeting, and on that meeting, it's not so much. There's an accountability factor just because of we have scoreboard hanging over our head at all times, right? I mean that's the nature of what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, on those meetings, we also have a team goal where the entire company gets compensated if we hit that goal. So there's an accountability there, right? That every salesperson feels that level of accountability, be able, to get our project management, our customer service group compensated. So that's one way we do it. And then the other thing is in our weekly meeting, we just kind of talk through challenges, things like that. So it's not necessarily that we're micromanaging or calling anybody out for, not running enough appointments or putting enough proposals in front of clients and things like that. But, it's a high level of communication and then a team goal that we're all working for to compensate the rest of the team.
Awesome. Awesome. Do you have, just out of curiosity, do you have an opportunity that if somebody's lagging behind, that they can ask for or get some ideas or help from other team members, or is that when you step in as the manager and you kind of guide work with them?
No, I mean it's a very open door policy within our team, the entire team, and so a lot. One of one of your questions about best practices that we'll get to later is that what we found in our recent, we do a quarterly sales summit where we get the group together. We talk about, obviously there's an emphasis on numbers, um, funnel hitting, hitting our goals for the year, but um, instead of just getting together for 8 hours and just talking about that stuff, what we've done is we've actually assigned topics to reps who are really strong in certain areas. So we have one rep who's great on social media, and so and she's great at connecting with people on social media. So she took 20 minutes and said, "Hey, here's how I go about this. Here's how I connect." So what we found is that it opened the communication up within the team, um, and then it was very interactive and very educational for everyone. So yeah, if somebody's struggling in one area, they're comfortable going to somebody else saying, "Hey, I need to get better at this, or I need to improve on this. Can you help me out?" And they're very willing to work with one another.
Jamie, that's really good, because what I've known, and you probably already know this, is high-powered salespeople, their egos are so big that it's hard for them to ask for help or to admit, that they don't have an answer. And to have that strategy where you've got someone that's strong and wants to do part of the training and so forth, that's really good, because that really puts them on a little bit of a pedestal because they're in front of everybody, but at the same time, they can learn from others. So that's a really good one. I like that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, we all have egos, right? I mean, that's part of I would even say that most successful people have egos, right? But
Yeah.
I think the very successful people, not just in sales, recognize blind spots or weaknesses, and they want to work to improve on those weaknesses. So, and that's kind of what we thought would happen. Not necessarily calling out weaknesses within the team, but just saying, hey, this person's really good at this. They're really good at this. You're really good at this. Let's just talk about this. And then it just opened up this format for everybody to feel comfortable to ask questions. And so it's worked out really well.
That's good. That actually kind of leads me into my next question, because, we talk about what we're good at, and we talk about, the concept of this call here, continuous management improvement. Do you have in place any kind of structures for continuing education? You mentioned the quarterly one where you have your own people. Do you ever either bring in outside speakers, guest trainers, or send any of your people to specific trainings? Like you mentioned, you went to the One Challenge and then Dale Carnegie. Do you have anything in place for continuing education? Because with technology today, and of course with COVID last year and this year, using the social media, using Zoom and GoToWebinar, using the different tools and technologies, there's a learning curve. So do you have anything that you want to share with us on that respect as far as that?
Yeah. We have to, and that's a great question, right? And you really hit it on the head, especially with technology. I mean, if you think about, if you buy a MacBook now, it's almost outdated by the time you get it home, right? And so, and our industry is very much the same way, right? I mean, we are technology consultants with a heavy focus on telecommunications. But now everybody's working from home. They need collaboration tools. Cybersecurity is a big one. So, I mean, we are at least once a month, talking with cybersecurity consultants, talking with, representatives from these collaboration companies. So they're continually educating our team, helping us, understand the technology, how it could potentially help our clients. And then we even, I'll tell them, hey, I need you to dumb it down. Give me like the cybersecurity for dummies, and just so, we can talk to our clients a little bit about that. So, yeah, I mean, there's a huge focus on continuing education for our partners, for our employees, for everyone.
That's awesome. Great. Glad to hear that. I know the real estate industry, you actually have to get certified every year, pay money and go through that Con Ed class. Insurance is the same way, financial advisors. And a lot of sales companies, they do that inside. They really don't bring in those outside experts. And I personally think that's not the best strategy. I think it is a good strategy to bring in some outside influence and outside trainers. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, we have to stay on top of it. We have to be aware of what's going on. We work across all industries too. So financial, retail, healthcare. And so we have to understand that the technology trends that are going on within those industries. And so, there's a lot for us to be really good at what we do and to really provide value to our clients. And we have to continue to learn.
That's awesome. So kind of let's spin it on the other side and let's bring life or a positive thing from a negative. Share with us, if you'd like to, what kind of setback have you had in your journey to the sales manager position, to where you're at, that you were able to rebound from, bounce back, and you learned a valuable lesson, a career lesson, or something you would like to share?
Yeah, man, I've had a lot of setbacks to continue, right? So,
Haven't we all, right?
yeah, yeah. I wish I could just say, hey, Harry, man, I can't answer that because everything's just been awesome.
Yeah, we know better than that. We know better than that. You're not going to get away with that.
Yeah, right, right. But yeah, I've had quite a few setbacks, tough experiences. I think back to 2008, 2009, when the economy really took a hit. And you'll know, being from Detroit, I mean, it really took a hit in Detroit because of the automotive industry. And I don't care what you do in Detroit, you're kind of, somewhere you're tied to, to the big three and the automotive suppliers and things. So selling technology, we saw a lot of that. It dried up, right? And so I lost my job in '08 or '09. And when I got hired on in 2010, I had one of my mentors and sales managers. He said, listen, we're happy to have you here. I'm going to tell you right now, if you bust your butt for the next 12 months, if you put a plan in place, a strategy plan of prospecting and executing, and he said, you can set up your rest of your career with a 12-month effort. And he was right. I mean, him and we put a plan in place. We tweaked it, it evolved, and it changed over time. But yeah, in that 12 months, I was committed to doing whatever I could to find new prospects, to get in front of people, to talk about technology. And my career trajectory from 2010 is just taken off because of that.
That's great. And you're still with the same mentor?
We're no longer working together. We're in
Okay.
the same industry. Yeah. Things have happened that we're not together.
They evolve.
Yeah. But yeah, we talk all the time, and so yeah, I'm very thankful for him, and but yeah, that it was very humbling. It's humbling coming home and telling your wife, at the time we had 3 kids, hey, I lost my job today, and but after that humbling experience, like, you commit to, hey, that's never going to happen to me again, and I'm going to control this outcome.
Good for you. That's I'm glad you said that, because one of the things my early mentors shared with me, he said, we work not just for the money. He said that one of the objectives, or one of the things you should be shooting for, is to build a financial wall around your family that nothing can get through. And it's easier said than done. But that's why it's so important to have financial intelligence. So I'm really glad you mentioned '08, '09, and I was here in Detroit when that happened, and I was born and raised here. Been away a few times, but this is home. That actually was a turning point in my career, the other way. When the economy crashed, my business exploded, and over the next 4 or 5 years, was able to earn 7 figures. And my top guys, they were all making 6 figures a year, knocking on doors, selling cable TV. It was amazing.
That's great.
So it was just incredible. But of course, in corporate America, we find, when you make that kind of money, they change the rules of the game on you quite a bit. And over the next,
been there too.
Yeah, I know, right? To 8, 9 years later, they kind of filtered out where it was time to move on. So I get it. I'm glad to hear that it was a great experience for you. You bounced back, you poured it on, and made it happen. So before we end it up, I'm going to give it to you here. Do you have any additional thoughts on best practices that you'd like to share with our audience? And then I'll come back and close it up.
Yeah. A couple things. I mentioned my mentor. I've been fortunate. I've had 3, outside my parents, but professional mentors. I've had 3 really good mentors, and they I mentioned like taking time, figuring out what makes people tick. All three are really good at that. And the other thing that they were really good at was removing obstacles within the organization, right? It's and they would all ask or frame it up kind of like this: how can I help? What can I help you with today? What can I eliminate from your list of things so you can focus on what you have to do? And so I love the how can I help or what can I eliminate as a leader. I think that's really powerful to help your people.
That is good stuff. What can I eliminate off your plate so you can focus on what you do best? I like that.
Yeah, and I think that's really important as a leader. Get in the trenches and help people out.
That is great. Well, that's all we're going to do. Hang on just a minute there, Jamie. But for our audience here, thank you so much for tuning in today. Again, Jamie Boedeker, Global Telecom Solutions. Got some great gems here today. Appreciate your time. Thanks, everybody. This will be we'll be back again in 2 weeks on Tuesday for the next episode. And this is Harry Newhand with Continuous Sales Management Improvement. By the way, we do have our website up. If you wanted to hear the audio of our replays, the videos are on YouTube. You heard Jamie talk about going back to hear and seeing a few. Our audios, if you want to plug it into your car, you can go to Continuous Sales Improvement for Teams.com. Continuous Sales Improvement for Teams.com. All the audios are on there from our past episodes. With that, we'll sign off. Everybody have a great day. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye now. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to get notified of the latest episode. Also, to learn more about improving your sales team, visit Continuous Sales Improvement for Teams.com. See you in the next episode and have a great day.